Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you join us from in the world. Welcome to Open Up, our live talk show. My name is RJ Horner, and I'm the host of Open Up. I'm also the vice president of Voice of Men 360. So thank you on behalf of myself and the Voice of Men 360 team. Voice of Men 360 is a not for profit organization founded in 2020 based in Toronto, Canada. Voice of Men 360 was born out of seeing a tremendous need and then stepping up to help provide services and support and help our men and boys overcome their life challenges. We're part of International Men's Day. International Men's Day has been serving for over 21 years so far and is now represented in 90 countries around the world who joined together to do various activities. International Men's Day follows 6 pillars, which represent the overall well being of men and boys, and we follow in those same footsteps here. But why open up? Why is it so important? Because men are not willing to open up our hearts and share our matters with anyone. When we keep our emotional challenges within ourselves for any lengthy period of time, it may lead to ill health conditions. That's why we want to create this open space where we allow individuals to share their life journey through this platform. We aim to create awareness about the life challenges and the struggles and the overcomes that our boys and men have to go through in their lives. There are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups. We invite all to participate in our programming. Our goal is to make a positive impact on someone's life through this program. Open Up is on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We invite all to participate. We bring out individuals each week and let them share their experience with you. We'd like to remind you that Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered with good faith towards peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness to the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We're not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have questions or concerns about today's episodes or any Voice of Men 360 content, please email us info@voiceofmen360.org. I'd like to introduce you today to today's speaker. His name is Eric Amoakwa-Boadu. He was born in London, England in 1975. Eric returned to his parents' homeland of Ghana. And then he grew up and was mostly nurturing his artistic talents. He excelled in art, won artistic awards both at school and national levels. He returned to the UK in his early 20s and pursued his first degree in mechanical engineering. Later followed up with a master's degree in advanced mechanical design engineering. Yet the art kept calling to him. Eric's work helped people of African descent to discover their heritage and stories through his paintings, telling positive African stories. Currently, he holds a weekly talk show on Facebook and YouTube where he interviews artists of African descent to share their stories through their creativity. Eric, thank you for joining us on Open Up and being willing to share your life journey with us.
Welcome, RJ. It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Again, you've led quite the life. Emigrated, from the country of your birth back to a homeland you didn't know, but your parents knew very well. Then back to London, where you grew up, to continue your education. Tell us a little bit about that upbringing, if you could.
So I, as you said, was born in London, and my father studied law over here. So when they were moving back to Ghana after the studies, obviously the family, myself and my brother, moved over to Ghana with them. And by the time I realized, obviously I was in Ghana because I went back to Ghana at a very early age. I was about 4 years old. Mm-hmm. So when my eyes really opened to the world, I was in Ghana. So all I knew was the Ghanaian culture, the Ghanaian way of doing things. And it was quite interesting because there were not a lot of resources back in those days to feed into or nurture my artistic career. All I had was my parents, my family, a lot of extended family members always visiting. So it was a happy upbringing, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So how did you manage to nurture, as you say, that artistic influence that you have? You say it's a natural inclination for you. So how do you manage to culture that in a place where art is not acknowledged or it's not a really part of the day life?
That's a really good question. Yes. I remember when I was about 6 years old, a friend of mine had an older brother, And back in the days, I'll tell a story. We used to just go around playing in the neighborhood. And then we saw somebody who had actually um, dumped a watercolor set, a palette with just a few colors in them, about 3 colors in them. The elder brother, who was artistic, picked it up and started using the watercolor. So that was the first time I came across paint or colors, because I used to just draw with the chalk and charcoal sticks and all that. But when
Sure.
I saw color, my whole existence changed, because it opened up a new world to me. And that was when I started following this brother of my friend. He painted, and I just mimicked everything that he did. So I started coming up with my own drawings, and I copied, let's say, things that I saw in magazines, things that I saw in the newspapers, anything at all. I used to draw back in those days. And I remember in school, I used to even give it to friends as gifts. So that is where I started developing that skill set that was already in me.
Let me ask you then. I mean, because we're all about influence and friendships, and what did those friends feel by receiving your paintings?
Oh, it made them really feel good, and I became popular back
I
in those
bet.
days. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
bet. And that's certainly a way to nurture that talent too, right? The good feelings that you get back from showing people or demonstrating people your art.
Exactly, exactly. Because the more I received that warm compliment from friends, it urged me on to even give more. And to be able to give more, you have to actually give them good things, isn't it? So I started drawing and practicing so that I could give them the best that was in me.
Wow, I love that, and we'll get back into that in a little bit. But again, we're all about influences. You've moved, you're in a new country. Well, no, if this is what you now know as your country. Let's put it that way.
That's right.
But as a young adult, what was your influence from your parents, especially maybe your father at that time?
I can say and write a whole book about my dad. I mean, my dad has been a huge influence on my life. He's now a retired High Court judge, and today is his birthday, actually. He's about 84, if I can remember correctly. Yes, today he's celebrating his birthday. But he had so much influence on my life growing up. He was all about studies. So he introduced me to books and the act of studying every single day. He also was quite a humble person, so even though he belonged to the upper class system, he taught us how to be able to relate to everyone. And his passion was farming. So I remember those days he took us to his farm and made us uh, cultivate some of the products that he had as well. So he actually taught us handiworks as well as the act of studying. And then his education was started quite late in life, where he did his O level and his advanced level when he had already grown up into an adult, a man, when he came to the UK. So that really encouraged me to pursue the art of studying and take it to the highest level from a very young age. So my dad had a huge influence. And then when it came to a father and son relationship too, he was somebody who liked watching football. So he would always gather us around him, the boys, and then we watched football together. And those were the times that we talked about life lessons, and he gave us nuggets of wisdom every single time. So that's the kind of relationship that I had with my dad.
Mhm. And so by football, you mean the European football, yes?
The European, yes,
Yeah,
as you'd
because
call
we're,
it,
'cause we're
soccer.
in the Western world. We know football is a whole different game. So, but
Exactly.
we know, so we call it soccer. We love soccer here. Um, and it is a sport that brings you together. It unites you in the bond of cheering for your favorite teams. And Ghana has always been a competitive team too, right? So, is
Ghana
that
has been
something
doing
you've
well.
watched together, or has it been the English soccer?
Back in those days, it was the English soccer and the European soccer, I should say, and we watched a lot of German football. We had a good Ghanaian player, Anthony Yeboah, who used to be the captain of the German team, the national team at some point. So we used to watch him a lot, and I developed a liking for and a passion for discipline, dedication, and being excellent at what you do.
Mhm. That certainly can come out in that for sure. See, those are beyond life lessons because I mean, we watch it for the inspiration, for the spirit of it, right? It certainly helps to
Exactly.
elevate the spirit. But like you said, there was life lessons that came about because of watching the game.
There's a lot of life lesson in football. I mean, when it comes to everything to do with life, you can see it in football when it comes to leadership, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to teamwork, when it comes to discipline, dedication, delivering, results. Everything is embedded in the game of football.
Absolutely. Again, especially that you can't do it by yourself, right? Each one of those team members is just as valuable as the other. The striker, the star may get the name on the field, but I mean, without the others, that striker is nobody, right? So
that is true. That's
absolutely.
True.
So again, thank you for that little discussion. That we were able to turn it toward the value in life. Spending time, of course, is important. But again, there's so much more to just watching TV or watching entertainment than picking up the quality time that we may get from it.
That's true.
You grew up and come back to London, and now you're going to basically change because now you're going to pursue mechanical engineering. Is that not completely different for an artist?
That is completely different. And I think when you started, you said that art wasn't appreciated, still not appreciated in developing countries. It's only now recently that African art is being on the rise, and therefore people are paying more attention.
Okay.
But back when I was growing up, parents in those days encouraged us to pursue traditional subjects like being a lawyer, a doctor, engineer, and all the traditional subjects. So those were the directions that we were encouraged to pursue. So when I was coming to London in my early 20s, all I knew was I'm coming here to study. And then when I came, within the first 2 years, I met my beautiful wife. We got married quite early in our 20s, and we started a family. So I didn't go straight into mechanical engineering. I worked in odd jobs, somebody who'd been born in the UK, but I had to find my feet back in a brand new system. So I had to do some odd jobs. But at the back of my mind, I always knew that I had to pursue the art of studying to be a better person in society. So 4 years later, I enrolled in a course of mechanical engineering, and that is where I started pursuing that career.
Mechanical engineering. Tell people a little bit about what that is, because again, it is quite different from art.
That is still too different from art. I see mechanical engineering as the art of being inquisitive about things around you and being able to use what is around you to solve your problems. So you need to be somebody who is quite inquisitive about your surroundings and then using tools around you to solve the problems, that day-to-day problems in society. That is mechanical engineering. Yes.
No, please continue.
I was going to relate it to the art side of it. Art is something that involves using creative methods to also communicate. So I found myself employing elements of art in mechanical engineering. So that's why I chose the design side of mechanical engineering, where I could employ a lot of my design skills or my creativity in coming up with tools and equipment that will solve problems.
Absolutely. That's exactly. I love that you created. You describe yourself as a solutions oriented person, but you've also built art into it, and I think that's where you probably went into advanced design or mechanical design engineering, and that kind of does it not incorporate the art, because you're like you just mentioned, designing the building according to somebody's vision.
Yes. So when it comes to advanced design engineering, it incorporates your ability to visualize into the future, to tap into what's coming, how the world will be in future, and you're able to actually use your imagination to come up with concepts that do not exist, or concepts that will improve on already existing products or devices or services that we use. So your creative imagination is developed a lot. And this is what artists do. We bring things to life that do not really exist. We actually conjure things magically from our imagination. So that's exactly what I did. And I'm able to employ the left-hand side of my brain and the right-hand side of my brain to come up with designs.
And it's funny you say that, because that's exactly what it is. They're two exact opposites. It's creative, we're thinking from the left side, and then right, we're thinking from the technical, and just hard to meld the two. So people who can do that are very treasured. And you were, by your formal education and then your love for art, you're able to create an environment for people, and a vision that is beyond something they would imagine for themselves, right?
Exactly. So yes,
At least that's the way I'm seeing it based on what you're telling me.
that's true. That's
So I
true.
wanted to share that with people because, again, you now are able to visualize for people. You're able to tell stories, and that's where we're going with this. You now help people through art and through telling stories through art. So, tell us how valuable you think art is in that whole process.
So I think art plays a major role in our society. And let's talk from a man's point of view. Men are meant to be leaders. We are meant to be cultivate around us. We are meant to be productive. I'm a Christian, so I'll refer back to the Bible, where from Genesis we were commanded to take dominion over the fishes of the sea, over the birds of the air, and every living creature around us. So it means we are creative beings. Now, art plays a major role in how we live as human beings, especially as men. We should have that foresight and the vision to be able to cultivate everything that we put our hands to, turn it into something better than it was. So, as men, we should first of all have that mindset that whatever we engage in, we are going to make it better than we actually came into contact with.
One of the things I see, I mean, it hinders me. I used to be an artist as a child. I used to draw.
All right.
I pursued reading and writing more so because of a culture I observed. In that it's hard to pursue art. It's hard to be seen as an artist and be seen as a serious person.
True.
So I stepped away from the art world, left it,
Yeah.
behind. Just didn't pursue it anymore. But it's, I think, because we don't allow at least maybe here in the Western world, we don't allow our youth to pursue art to a degree that they might, like you say, art has played a valuable part in your entire being.
Yes.
We don't allow that part to grow, to be imagined.
I totally agree with you on that. And I think that the more we allow kids coming up to explore that area of creativity within them, and everybody has got it. And as you said, you were artistic and you're still artistic, but you didn't allow yourself to develop it further because of society and what society has placed on, or the value that society has placed on art. It People are forced to look at other areas because they think number one is more profitable, number two is more respectful, and people value those other than art. But what I will say and advise is that everybody is a creative being. You might not be drawing, but that creativity might be applied in other areas of your life. Let's say in your workplace, you're an accountant. You can come up with creative ways of achieving what your spreadsheets, what you would manually put on spreadsheets. You can creatively come up with, let's say, a script that will run all the spreadsheets at the same time and save you some time. You might be somebody who is a doctor. You can still think creatively in a 3D spatial way to achieve what you're doing. Art is universal. It's a language that everyone understands, and therefore we should place that much value on it. And when it comes to Africa as a continent, there's even less value on art than in the Western world. So my encouragement to those in Africa is that they should see art for what it is and the value that it can bring, and encourage the kids to enter into such a space, because it's through art that you can imagine things and bring it to being. It's through art that you can, let's say, manufacture all the things that you want to manufacture, because you have to first of all sketch it as a concept before you can bring it into the reality.
Look, and I like to refer to business too. You know what? Donald Trump, we all know him as this big billionaire who builds these buildings.
That's right.
That all comes about by creative vision, right? Somebody
Yes.
thought about this, and then somebody in your line of work said, "Yeah, we can do that. Let's take this, and we can put this, and we can build this." You know what I mean? So by having those conversations, you create that vision and you expand on that
Exactly.
vision
And you expand on it.
Absolutely. So people need to know that art has its place. It's not something that we should diminish or discourage in any way.
At all.
At
That's
all.
right.
I love that. So you think art has its place. And I love what you said earlier, and I'll just bring it up again here quickly. But when you discovered color, what it did for you. We all need color, and maybe we take it for granted at this point, right? It just
It's true,
exists in
isn't
our
it?
life. But somebody out there took that color and was inspired enough to make that portrait or that mural on that wall next to your office building that you're staring at every day, and
That's
maybe
it.
inspires you and cheers you up a little bit. Somebody had to create that.
Somebody had to. And I think color is something that brings life into being. I mean, for those of us who have been gifted with the gift of sight, when you look around you, there's nothing that is in monochrome. Everything is in color. And that brings peace and joy to us. It brightens our day. Imagine we woke up one day and everything is in black and white. I don't think that we would be happy enough, because God, in his infinite wisdom, gave us color so that in every season we see different shades. In autumn, for instance, we see all the browns and the oranges and everything. In winter, we see a different shade. In summertime, everything just blossoms. All the colors are there. The flowers are blossoming. And this is what life is about. So I think we should appreciate color. We should welcome it and use it to our advantage in life.
Absolutely. So, do you believe then that we could help use art and that creativity to help change or help serve men's issues or the work that we're doing in the men's world?
I strongly believe so, because as men, there's this side that says men should not show emotion. I mean, there's been a story that's been told all along. I'm not sure any part of the world where men are encouraged to show emotion. And this has been to our disadvantage, because we are human beings as well. When it comes to emotional intelligence, I think men should be able to welcome that. As long as we're human, we are allowed to cry. We are allowed to show the weaker part of us. We are allowed to show the stronger part of ourselves. And we can use art to communicate this. So in pieces of paintings, in graffitis, in murals on the wall, we should be able to communicate this, that men are also human beings, and there's healing in showing your emotions.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, those are the things that we do not do as men. We don't show our emotions. We don't allow these things to flow. Anything that might be counterproductive to being a man, we may toss it aside as not being beneficial or not worth encouraging. So thank you for encouraging men through art. So tell us a little bit about that. Is what you do now as a profession by this YouTube channel that you have, where you encourage men and the world
Exactly.
through telling stories through their art. So please tell us a little bit more about that.
Right. So at the moment, my main goal is to allow people of African descent to tell their stories, positive stories, about the continent, about their experiences around the world through art. So I have a show on YouTube and Facebook every Saturday, 4 p.m. UK time, where I allow them to tell their positive stories, show pieces of their artwork, and let us know that art plays a huge role in society. So that is what we do, and it's been going really well. I've done it for about 2 years now, and it's been going solidly well.
I want to point out also, at least my opinion, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it, is that artists are usually the ones who help participate in the great causes out there. They're the ones, not they don't just because you see an art picture on the logo. That was a team that probably put it together, and it was that team of creative artists who are help spearfront this. So that's a role they take on, is it not?
It is. I think most artists are activists as well, because
Yes.
they stand for a cause, and they use their pieces of artwork, whether being a logo, a painting, a mural, whatever, to communicate that message. So I, for one, for instance, if there are social injustices in this world, I use my art to talk about it. I remember in South Africa, there was a lot of fighting amongst the actual citizens and those who had migrated into the country, and there was a lot of homophobic issues going on. I did a huge painting to communicate the fact that it should stop, because we are all Africans and should live at once. So a lot of artists are able to communicate very strong messages in that sense. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I just wanted to relate that because, again, we can't undervalue anybody or any part they may play. We think that, oh, they're just the artsy type. Like, back in the 70s, they used to, that Berkeley Society, right? Oh, they're just
Oh,
that,
yes.
that hippie culture. But
That's right.
listen, these people are spearheading some of the greatest actions that our society is taking. So we need to realize that everybody has their place, regardless of what you may
And
think.
I agree with you 100% because we think all artists are just happy people, very cheerful. As in the 60s, the hippie people with all the colors, and we think we are just all rainbow people, cool. We think outside of the
Sure,
box,
yeah.
and therefore we're not normal. But that's not the case.
Yep. And that is the stigmatism or the culture that is assigned to you being an artist. Again, that was part of the reason I backed away from that environment, right? So, but
Yes.
again, I want to look. I made that decision, right? Or I don't even think it was a decision. It just is something I just dropped off my life. But I don't want
That's
other
right.
people out there to have to make that decision because you know what? Let's encourage people to play their part, whatever it may be, because that
Exactly.
part is a lot more valuable than you think that one little role they may play.
That is absolutely true, and I agree with you 100% on that.
So thank you. You've been amazing today. There's a couple questions I like to ask before we end the show. The first one being, what can our young men and boys do to empower their own lives?
Very good question. I think every young man should start early thinking about why they are here on earth, to ask that question to the universe, God, and ask him, why am I here? Why am I on earth? What is my purpose? So that they can discover that early enough to start taking action towards being their best selves.
Wow, that is valuable. That is valuable. Again, we got to get to know who we are in order to become that person we want to be. That is
Exactly.
amazing. So then what can we do as a society to help them on that journey?
I think we should look at our educational curriculum where we don't just teach traditional subjects, but we should incorporate personal development from a very early age. So we should look at the fact that we should look at the 7 areas of life and start teaching our children from the early age to let them find out about purpose, find out about taking action, leadership, finances, all those areas that will leave people to discover by themselves. That should be taught at the schools from an early age.
I totally agree with you. Um, a bigger discussion there, but our education or our curriculum system does need to be completely revamped to encourage our
Exactly.
modern 2K attitude.
Yes.
It's a curriculum that was created back in the 1900s and is far outdated at this point.
It's outdated.
Somebody has to pay attention to changing that.
That's true. That's true.
So, is there anything else you'd like to depart with us before you leave?
Right. Departing message is that all of you should look inside of yourself, find out the good qualities within you, and just share it with the rest of the world. Especially from a man's point of view, we've got more to give than to take.
I love that. We've got more to give than to take. That was Eric Amoakwa-Boadu.
Thank
It
you so
didn't quite come out that good this time.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Thanks,
Eric, thank you for joining us today and being willing to share your life journey with us.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Absolutely. I appreciate the courage and willingness it takes to help other men overcome their life struggles. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a few announcements. As many Canadians know, our Indigenous families are in need of our support. So we are continuing. This is our last time I'll be asking you to help support our donation drive for Indigenous families. If you have any items to pick up, whether they be dry food items, used clothes donations, or any suitable items, we're still working to coordinate them. Please contact us through the phone numbers 416-356-7414 or our phone number 437-889-8329. Email us info@voiceofmen360.org or reach out to us through Facebook Messenger and we'll work to coordinate those items. We're working to we're looking to recognize men who have made a positive impact Voice of Men 360 wants to recognize your contributions to society, community, family, marriage, childcare, environment, your next generation, or to the global village. If you know anyone who deserves to be recognized, please use our Google form to submit your recognition so we will recognize them during our International Men's Day celebration. So please, again, if you have any men out there who are worthy of recognition as being a strong supporter and a strong ally, please let us know and we'll give them recognition during our International Men's Day celebration. We'll mention them throughout our second observance. Again, this is Voice of Men's 360's second observance of International Men's Day. We host a week-long celebration where we host different interviews or different topics. This year we'll begin November 13th at 10 a.m., where we'll lead to Friday, November 19th. I believe we're going till 10 o'clock that day. Each day we'll have about a 90-minute show with different various activities or topics, and it will be live on Facebook and YouTube channels. So please join us and support us for that. Again, November 13th, we have our show at 10 in the morning. Each day we'll have a different day and time slot. So please look at our group for more information on our International Men's Day week-long celebration. We have several live shows that we record here. The first you just participated in is Open Up, where we invite men to share, we invite everybody, all walks of life, to share their personal life journey. And this is a live talk show Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We also have the same thing in Tamil language, which is called Vili, which means I. That takes place Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a special monthly webinar the first Saturday of every month, where we bring out an organization to discuss a topic of interest to them and to our community. We also host a monthly special show called The Unspoken Tears. This takes place the second Saturday of every month, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, where the topic is domestic violence against men, bullying, male sexual abuse, traumas, and human trafficking. They exist, and we talk about them here. South Asian Men's Show. This takes place the third Sunday of every month, where we co-host with the All Bengal Men's Forum. This is where each month a topic from a country in South Asia will bring out to discuss a topic of particular interest to them. So that, again, is the South Asia Men's Show. And then we told all of our content into podcast episodes. So please look for us on your favorite platform, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and more. And then we host a bi-weekly men's only peer support group. This is the Open Up Men's Peer Group, only for men by men. We're every 2 weeks, Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Next one will be November 16th. So please register and join us for that. Again, this is the Open Up Men's Peer Group. Then we have another one for Indigenous peer-to-peer called Pass the Talking Stick. This takes place the fourth Friday of every month from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. through Zoom. Please register again and join through that. There are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups. All walks of life are invited to participate in our programming. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows, or you're willing to be a part of our organization, help us whether directly or indirectly, please reach out to us. We'd love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, government officials, NGOs, and more. Please reach out to us again. Our phone number is 437-889-8329. Email us info@voiceofmen360.org. That makes our website www.voiceofmen360.org. And you can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms: Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. Don't forget to like and join us in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/voiceofmen360. Again, we are on a membership drive. We're looking to raise the voice and raise the awareness. We're looking to reach 5,000 members by this International Men's Day, November 19th. So please like and share these videos. Please like and share our content on our Facebook group. We're looking to share the voice. And then don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube for more of our content from Voice of Men 360. We want to reach out and help more people. Please continue your support. Until next time, I'm your Vice President of Voice of Men 360 and your host, asking you to open up.